Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for those who are watching my channel for the first time or they're not familiar with my channel, the reason why it's called Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron is that today we talk about everyday issues and we try to find logical solutions. Unfortunately, not everyone uses logic. So I just want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope on Twitter. Now, I see there's currently 3 people watching the stream, which I really appreciate it. Now, I already dropped the link in the chat. Should anybody wishes to enter the panel, I will ask though is that anyone that enters the panel, let's be respectable and let's respect other people's viewpoints. You can also enter your comments in the chat if you don't wish to join the panel, or as is, please be respectable. Now, tonight we're going to be talking about are we addicted to social media? But before we do, we're going to be sharing a couple of things. We have something new, which is called What the Heck is This? Now, the reason for this segment is we're going to be talking about stories which are a little bit bizarre or unusual. So tonight we have a story to share. Just give me a moment. Sorry. Just give me a moment. Okay. Okay. Now, this is the story regarding the BlackBerry, the, the 5G phone officially dead. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar, I mean, back in the late 1990s and the early 2000s, the BlackBerry was the first, one among the first smartphones that we use. It was the first phone with internet, and we was able to do all sorts of different programs. That was before we had the iPhone and the Galaxy phones. So now I'm just going to read to you the article. The delay of the 5G BlackBerry phone is dead, on what Mobility has confirmed on its website. It is with great sadness that we announce that Onward Mobility will be shutting down, and we will no longer be processing with the development of an ultra-secure smartphone with a physical keyboard. Onward Mobility said in a message posted on Friday, as spotted earlier by Crackberry. Please know that this was not a decision that we made lightly or in haste. We share your disappointment in this news and assure you that this is not the outcome we worked and hoped for. Let me just continue this. Android Police and Crackberry originally reported earlier in February that the phone has been canceled. Texas-based startup Onward Mobility, which sought to revitalize the iconic BlackBerry brand through an Android-based next-generation Wi-Fi device, lost the license from BlackBerry Limited to use the name, the outlet said. Onward Mobility did not expand on why it was shutting down and canceling the production of the phone. And we're going to park it here. Now, one problem that many companies have is that as time goes by, they have to adapt to changes in the market in order to be successful. It appears that BlackBerry was not able to adapt to the changes. Plus, with the competition with the iPhone and the Galaxy phones, BlackBerry was not able to compete. Now, I do see that there are currently 3 people watching this stream. I do appreciate it very much. Now, I'm going to share with you, just give me a moment. And of course, everyone is familiar with the situation going on in the Ukraine. So I'm just going to read to you an article that I picked up. Okay. Now, as a result of the invasion of Russia into Ukraine has led to multiple anti-war protests around the world to show solidarity to the Ukraine. I'm going to read to you just a few lines. Crowds gathered outside Russian embassies around the world to denounce Russia's invasion of Ukraine. People in London, Paris, New York, Berlin, St. Petersburg, and other cities protested Russian President Vladimir Putin's military operation in eastern Ukraine. Around 1,800 protesters in Russia were arrested for anti-war rallies. This is what the peace movement looks like around the world. And I'll just see if I'm just going to scroll this down. And this is an image in Russia. Anti-war protesters who took to the streets of St. Petersburg to protest Russia's invasion of Ukraine On Thursday were met with arrests. Similar protests took place around the country, and police detained more than 1,600 people in at least 53 cities. Hundreds of people rallied Thursdays in cities including Moscow, St. Petersburg, and Yekaterinburg, chanting the slogan "No to War" and holding up makeshift signs. And I'm going to plug it here. Now, hopefully, and I say hopefully, that there could be a peaceful solution to this problem, to this crisis over there in Ukraine. I do know there's been a lot of people scared in regards to whether or not there's going to be a World War III. Of course, that's something that we do hope it does not happen. My personal opinion, I don't think it will happen. I think when everything is said and done, I think cooler heads prevail. I'm not going to take a side whether Russia is right or the Ukraine is right. I just simply give you the facts, and then you make your determination. I do want to state for the fact that I do appreciate the support that I have received from the from the people, and the fact of the matter is, as of now, I have 51 subscribers. Just give me a moment to text a message. Excuse me. And as of today, my content has been watched for over 700 hours. So I do appreciate the support I receive. I also am familiar with the fact that over 80% of the people who view my content are not subscribers. So I want to encourage you to please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. Just give me a moment. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get into the main topic. So just give me a moment. Now, the topic for tonight is, are we addicted to social media? Now, I've came across some articles which I intend to share. Hopefully, there'll be other people that will join the panel so we can have the discussion. Otherwise, if no one joins, I'm just going to cut it short. So just give me a moment. Now I came across this article. The article was dated October 6, 2021, which happens to be a day before my birthday, just to let everybody know. I'm just gonna, okay. So with the increasing amount of social media platforms available, from Facebook to TikTok, it is clear that social media plays a huge role in many of our lives. Recently, there's been a lot of talk about social media addiction. While there is no established clinical diagnosis, there is no doubt aspects of social media that can be addicting for some people. In fact, professionals and researchers are agreeing that social media can be addictive, just like drugs and alcohol and behaviors such as gambling and shopping. Now let's go this down. Now, what is so addictive about social media? According to researchers, people may use social media for the following reasons: to seek out information, as a way to share themselves with other people, entertainment, fun, and pleasure. Social media addiction has not yet been recognized as a clinical disorder. However, many professionals and researchers agree that it can be addictive for some people. Like other types of addictive behavior, using social media is rewarding. Seeing an entertaining post or connecting with someone you know brings you pleasure and makes people you want to continue. When, when something is rewarding, it has the potential to be abused and to become an addiction. An addiction develops when people continue to do this behavior, even though it causes problems in their life. Researchers also believe that the fear of missing out, or FOMO, plays a role in social media addiction. When it comes to social media, social users may have anxiety about the fact that other people are having positive experiences that they are not a part of. Studies have found that greater FOMO is related to more Facebook use and lower mood, well being, and satisfaction of life. Now, how does compulsive checking of social media affect your mental health? Compulsive checking of social media can have negative effect on mental health. For example, spending time on social media and addiction to social media are risk factors for anxiety and depression. Researchers are still trying to understand the link between social media and mental health, but some theories have already been proposed. One explanation that people who spend long amounts of time on social media and on the internet has less time for face-to-face interaction. This negativity affects their mental health. Another explanation that social media can cause pressure to fit in, which can be stressful and lead to poor mental health. Now, here we talk about how social media is addictive, like other addiction, and how it is unique. And before we let my I'll let guests in, I'm just going to read the disclaimer. The views of the guests who appear on the channel are not necessarily the views of the host nor this channel. Any attempt to copy the material without the consent of the host, Jose Negron, or the channel Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron is prohibited. By appearing on the channel, you waive the rights to the image of this channel. Some of the views which guests hold may be considered offensive to some viewers. If you don't like the content, you can block the channel. And now we're going to let. Good evening, Rakim.
Good evening, Jose.
How are
How's
you doing today?
everything?
Oh, fine. I was just getting into the meat of the topic, which is are we addicted to social media?
In my personal opinion, oh, excuse me,
Okay,
I'm driving a little bit. Me, one second.
sure.
In my personal opinion, absolutely, we are
Okay.
absolutely addicted to social media, and it has the more and more social media has become lucrative. the more and more it's become, because you got to look at social media. Not only has it's been created, like you've been able to acquire so much more information on social media than anywhere else. Like, any encyclopedia, any library, anything. It has also created its issues as well, where, you know, um, of course, the more and more social media has become lucrative, the more money you can make off social media, the more you can use it as a way of expression. It has had its problems, such as, you know, uh, people can spread hatred on social media. People can, do things that wouldn't be deemed, uh, you know, wouldn't be deemed in good character in the real world on social media, because the more and more attention social media brings, the more it becomes an addiction to the person who provides the content. I
Mm-hmm.
believe it was a study done that said that the dopamine levels that are released when people get validation from life, that stuff be addicting. So you have a lot of people, and then some of these people, they don't feel validated in the real world, so they'll come on social media. They have validation that they may not be receiving in their day-to-day lives. So people can become addicted to that. People can become addicted to interacting with people from all over the world, to the point that they no longer pay any attention to their regular lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. So right now, I'm just reading, sharing this article. Right here, we're talking about how social media is addiction, like other addictions, and how it is unique. Social media would fall under the category of behavior addiction. Other types of behavior addiction include gambling, shopping, and sex. Social media has becomes an addiction if a person uses social media to the point that it causes problems in their lives. While some people are able to use social media in moderation, others may find themselves unable to control it. Through social media and substances can both be different, addictive. The types of consequences people experience may be different. For example, people with substance use disorders often experience health problems caused by the addiction, but this is unlikely with social media addiction. Substance use disorders and social media addiction are similar, that in both can involve tolerance and withdrawal. Like people with substance use disorder, those with social media addiction can develop a tolerance where they crave more social media time to feel as good. They can also experience withdrawal symptoms when they're not on social media, like irritability and anxiety. So, Joaquin, what's your thoughts on what I just read and just that paragraph?
I think it's a lot of busy with what was said. Yes, that happens often, actually, more than what people realize. I've seen people in my personal life, people that have admitted to me, when they see other people doing well on social media, it makes them reflect on their lives in a negative way. Not fully understanding that, people just showing, the pictures of the good times on social media. Nobody's showing you what's going on behind the scenes, and you don't even know if half the times you're looking at is real or not. You don't know what these people did to pay for that trip. You don't know if these people are doing as well as they, present themselves to the world to be. Don't know. We're all humans. Most people on social media are not rich, so we all have our issues, whether it be financial, whether it be mental, different things like that. But when people see a lot of these things on social media, it can cause depression, definitely.
Mhm. Okay. Well, here I'm going to talk about how to treat a social media addiction. Therapy is one way to treat behavior addiction like social media. Cognitive behavior therapy, or CBT, is a type of therapy which has been used to treat, just internet addiction. CBT can be offered in an individual or group setting. The key component of CBT include understanding how a person's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are related, identifying and changing negative thoughts and beliefs, teaching coping skills to manage negative feelings. Therapists can adapt CBT to help meet the needs of people addicted to social media. For example, therapy may involve exploring how a person's thoughts and feelings lead to use social media as a way to cope. By changing negative thoughts and learning to cope with negative feelings, the person may reduce their social media use. Joaquin, what's your take on that?
Yes, therapy without with or without social media, I think therapy is very important. It's very
Hmm.
important. I think yeah, I think a lot of people should look into that. Just try to focus on things outside social media to concentrate on, whether it be working out, whether it be reading books where you can you know acquire more information that you can utilize to help you take further steps in life, different things like that. I definitely do believe that those key components into trying to rear yourself off of social media, so you don't experience some of those you know uh, you don't experience some of those negative things on social media, and you can try to quell that addiction as much as possible.
Okay. Now, people who are addicted to social media may suffer from other mental health conditions like anxiety, depression, attention deficit hyper disorder, which is ADHD, obsessive compulsive disorder, which is OCD. In these cases, medication may also be helpful to address the underlying mental health disorders. Depending on specific symptoms, antidepressants, anti anxiety medications, or other types of medications may be helpful. Now, these are ways that you can tell if you are addicted to social media. And the signs are spending a large amount of time on social media, thinking about social media, and often when you're not using it, spending less time doing other activities, hobbies, or spending time with others in order to use social media. Using social media to the point that it negatively affects different areas of your life, like work, school, and relationship. Experiencing negative feelings like anxiety and irritability when you cannot access social media. Using social media as a way to cope with negative emotions. Many people wonder how much time is too much time to be spending on social media. There's currently no official guidelines in this area. However, the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychology recommends that children time be limited to 1 hour per day on the weekdays and 3 hours per day on the weekends. For teens and adults, there is no set amount of time that is right for all people. To determine what's best for you, think about how much time you spend on social media. How much time, how much of this time is beneficial to you? Does social media use interfere with other important activities? Does it negatively impact your mental health? Rakeem, your input on this.
I think that. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think it definitely needs to be limited. It definitely needs to be limited. Even myself, sometimes I have to check myself to limit time that I'm on social media because with all of these different apps, whether it be Instagram, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Twitter or YouTube, yeah, you'll find yourself spending hours upon time without even realizing where the time is going. And God forbid, if you have important things to do, you don't definitely want to, set that time schedule. So yeah, I definitely think it should be limited
Yeah,
on, and just try to have some type of discipline.
yeah. Now, as you can see here, there have been numerous studies based on the subject. I'm not going to read it because now there are ways when you can get help as far as dealing with addiction to social media. Um, Contact your health insurance company for a list of network providers. You may not be able to narrow down your search to social media specialists, but you can look for providers who are trained to treat behavior addictions. Oh boy, here we go. One moment. Okay. Um, let's see, what was I? Speak to your physician about what you're experiencing. They may be able to recommend a provider for you. Also, reach out to SAMH, SAMHSA. This is a national organization that can help you find treatment or programs for substance use and mental health disorders. The national helpline is free and is confidential, and it can be reached at 1-800-662-4357. They also offer locator for treatment services, which allows you to search online for local facilities. What are some ways that you can cut down on screen time and social media use? If you feel like your social media use is causing you problems in your life, then it would be helpful to evaluate how much you are using it and consider the following suggestions for cutting back. Do a social media cleanse at least once per week where you stay off social media for at least 12 hours. Try to cut back on how often you check your social media by limiting yourself by checking only twice a day. Keep your time spent on social media to a limit, like 10 minutes each time you log on. Download an app that helps you to track and cut down your social media time. Turn off your phone for for meals and at least 1 hour before bed. Start a new hobby to help keep your mind off of social media. And then now we're gonna practice here. Uh, so Rakim, your comments.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm sorry, I lost the signal for a minute. Jose, can you repeat what you said? The last things that you said.
No, I was just stating some resources where you can go um, to get help if you think you're addicted to social media, and some things you can do to try to limit your time. Like for example, for certain periods of time, just shut down completely from social media. Also, like shut off your phone like an hour before you go to bed. Also, try to develop other habits. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
so, what's your take on that?
Uh, yeah, that's important. That's very important because you have those people as well that try to make sure like when I'm done, I'm done. Like I'll put my phone, lay my phone down somewhere and
Yeah. You seem to be breaking
you
up.
know, laying down is not good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to back out. I'm gonna have to back out again. Right now, I'm getting a bad signal because I'm on the expressway, so I'm gonna have to back out for a minute, and I'll come
Okay.
back in just a minute.
All right. So hopefully, maybe if you're able to, try to hop back and at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Can't wait. Can you hear me now?
I can hear
Am I
you.
low? Okay.
I can hear
Um.
you.
Yeah, that's very important. But it's very important because you don't want to be like it'll mess up your sleep pattern, and before you know it, you're not getting a healthy amount of sleep.
No.
You can't really operate because you're stuck on social media all day.
Yeah.
It can have a lot of effects to it. Have a lot of
Yeah.
side effects in your personal life.
I agree. Now, one thing I do, it seems like you have people that spend like a good portion of the day on social media. So so I'm going to share something that it's in my Instagram. Just give me a moment. Check my social media, y'all. To see who loves me online. Now, the reason why I aired that little clip, just to give you an idea what some people do when it comes to social media. The fact that they actually get up in the morning and they're grabbing their phone to see if they've been liked.
Yeah, that's come the world that we live in now because like I said, I'm not anybody special. I'm not perfect. I even have a hard time at times. Well, but I have to tell myself that I have to be more disciplined because you can shop on social. You can shop on your phone now. You can
Yeah.
purchase clothing on your phone now. You can
Mhm.
express you can express how you're feeling, and sometimes people sit there waiting for somebody to respond. So like it has really, having these pocket computers has really, you can watch movies on your phone. So having these pocket computers has really, changed the outlook and changed the direction that the world is going in right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. You have to excuse me. I had to block somebody because they put down some inappropriate comment in the chat. So let me just let people know. People, you're more than welcome to state whatever comment. However, any attempt to put any disparaging remarks or any of those crazy Russian characters, you're going to be blocked. It is that simple. Okay. Unfortunately, these people, they don't learn. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share another article. Oops, excuse me. Just give me a moment. Now, here we're talking about excessive use of social media is comparable to a drug addiction. So I'm just going to read a couple of lines. Social media originated as a way for people to connect with family and friends, even if they were thousands of miles apart. But over the years, it has transformed. Now, social media is used in a variety of different ways and a lot more frequently. For instance, business, nonprofit organization, and even politicians use it as a way to reach a very targeted market. Meanwhile, teens and young adults use social media as a virtual scrapbook to document every detail of their lives as they were living. There are even influencers with large social media followings that use their following as a way to promote a product, service, or group through social media and gain support for it. Social media is even viable a resource for and a means of connecting isolated populations with other parts of the world. Okay, now I'm just going to okay. For some people, the thought of not being able to check their social media accounts causes them to break out in a cold sweat. They get nervous and anxious and are not sure how to handle the situation. When this occurs, therapists often refer to this as social media anxiety disorder, which may share similarities to social anxiety disorder. This connection is not surprising given that anxiety disorders are the most common mental disorder in the United States, and technology seems to be making it worse. In fact, it appears that more technological people acquire, the more stressed out they become. So, Rakeem, what you thought about it?
Yeah, I've seen videos on that of people. I believe it was at one point social media had shut down for a brief minute, and people were like losing their minds.
Yeah,
And go right ahead,
yeah,
Jose. Sorry.
okay.
Um,
Now, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say that because you have a lot of people. Social media has became their reality. And some people have a hard time differentiating between the real world and social media. And sometimes I can understand that because now it's gotten to the point where it's a kind of like it's intertwined a little bit. Social media and the real world is intertwined to an extent, but a lot of people have traded in, living fully in the real world to, just being on social media because, like I said earlier, they feel like they're more important on social media than they do in real life. So wherever I can get the validation, I can feel that that people love me or people like me or they enjoy me being around, that's where that person is gonna go. And primarily for a lot of people, that's on social media.
Yeah. Now, there are appropriate uses for social media, which are to manage notifications. In other words, text messages or Facebook messaging, things of that nature. That's important. Um, Also, it's important because you see certain posts. First, also it conducts a social media consultant. So I'm gonna park it here. But look, the reality is this: with the with okay, how can I put it? With the C-19 crisis, I mean, what has developed is that you have people are relying more and more social media. because they're not able to meet with others, whether it be via Zoom or whether it be through um, Teams meetings. The fact of the matter is, what this health crisis has done, it drove more people to use social media more frequently. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I believe during C19, that definitely a lot of people dive into social media a lot more because we lost human interaction, or being able to go out and speak with different people, and go to different places. So yeah, if it wasn't for C19, I wouldn't have met yourself or Denise or quite a few people, radical, quite a few people online, because at that time that's when everyone was online on those Saturdays and those Sundays. So
Yeah, um, that's true because a lot of people, I've met people like like yourself, Denise, Melanated Knight, um, Radical Latino, Brotep, Christina, True Teacher, Morena, Black Moon. I mean, a wide assortment of individuals. Um, and the fact of the matter is, Denise and I met through a disagreement on social media. So, um, and I see we have someone here. So, good evening, Ron.
Hey, Don Jose. What's up, Joaquin? What happened to you? We lost you.
oh
We lost you on
man,
the
man, my
screen.
bad, my bad. Ramon, I tried to join back, but I seen that the stream was over. I had to order my food and take care of a few things around the house. So like I ordered some
Okay. Got you. Yeah. You
yeah,
have to
that's
do
I
your
tried
thing.
to
No, I get it.
join
I get
back,
it.
but it was
Okay.
over.
Ah, ah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing things around the house myself, but I took a few minutes to chip in. Yeah.
yeah. So we've been talking about, whether people are addicted to social media.
Yes. And when you asked us about it the other day, that you announced that you were going to have this as a subject, as a topic. You asked us if our society is becoming more addicted to social media. What is it that both Hakim and I told you in unison at the same time immediately? Yes. There is too much of an addiction, but it's also somewhat more of a generational thing, because that's kind of like more of the millennials and the seniors. They're the ones that are being raised. They're being they're growing up with the already, when they are kids, children, toddlers. They're already growing up with their parents' smartphone in their hand. We see that everywhere. So they're gonna become so dependent on it. It's gonna be difficult for them. The moment that for some reason there is a limitation in technology or availability of technology, and they can't have access to a smartphone or a tablet. So I don't know what's gonna happen with them, because at least us that are older, if something happens to the smartphone, well, there are other ways to access the internet, or something like that. But it's not. I'm not gonna go into withdrawal because of it, because of the lack of it. But the younger generations, the ones that are coming after us, they are the ones that are gonna be in trouble if something were to happen, and they don't have access to social media like that, because that's all they know. That's all they know. That's all that they're having access to, and they're not really meeting the way people have been meeting for thousands of years, which is in person. They're talking in person, one on one, being around each other. And the whole thing with the COVID has made it worse, has compounded that, has made it even worse, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is no surprise that only 2 people are viewing the stream, and it's gotten 3 likes. Which que sera, sera. A lot more people probably watching on the playback.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, yeah. They will. They will.
yeah.
Yeah, because
So
I just wanted to say, oh, I'm sorry, Jose. Go right ahead.
no, go ahead, Rakim.
No, I just wanted to say, even with my generation, I think my generation was the last generation because like social media didn't become popular, and we got to remember it was stages because first it was MySpace, then it was Facebook, and those was not really like you can interact and you sent messages, but that was it. You post pictures, and that didn't become popular until I was about 18 years old. So prior to that, the internet was around, but it wasn't as advanced as it is now, and text messaging was just becoming a thing. In in 2003, 2004, 2005, text messaging was becoming a thing, and the new and iPods was just coming out at that time. So yeah, we was like the last generation before that. So to me, if social media is down, it doesn't going out and meeting people or going around in different places is like second nature to me. But like what Ramon said, these kids today, they're not gonna know how to do anything about it. They're not. I've seen little 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds with tablets that know how to fully operate those tablets and know how to communicate with people on them and different things like that. I had a little cousin and she was a sweetheart. She was 9 years old. She's sitting there on her tablet with her friends on I believe it was I think it was Facebook or something, all having a conversation. You hear a little voice talking about, yup, exactly. And I walk in there and I'm like, and it's her on Facebook or whatever it was with her little friends on the tab. So yeah, the kids today it'll be very difficult without social media because that's all they know.
Well, the fact of the matter is, remember months ago, there was a situation where temporarily there was a complete shutdown on Facebook, WhatsApp, and I forgot another platform, and people were going nuts because they couldn't do anything on Facebook. People lost money, and it's like, I actually did a whole stream on that topic. And I believe you guys participated.
Yeah, I think we might have. I remember that.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, my bad. I mean, I was getting a message. Yeah. Last thing I heard was what Rakim was talking about. That you were talking about your niece, the way that she's only be able to interact through social media. But you were asking me a question. My bad. I'm sorry. I got distracted.
Okay, and we have another visitor.
Where they at?
Hey, Denise.
Hello.
Yeah.
We'll pop up here for a little bit.
Okay. I don't know if you caught any of it, but I was talking about are we addicted to social media?
Absolutely.
Okay. Would you like to share your viewpoint? What led you to the conclusion? I agree 100%.
Well, we are on social media. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
If you spend more than 5 minutes every day on social media, you have an addiction, my friend.
Okay.
That's how it is.
Mhm. So I'm guilty as charged.
Yeah. We have acute addictions to it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. We're gonna go through
5 minutes?
withdrawal if it's taken away from us.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I think it's never going to be taken from us. But just picture this scenario. Imagine that all around the United States, the internet goes down for 7 days.
Uh-huh.
Now, think about your day to day life and how much internet you consume.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And just think about a whole week without Netflix, Hulu, TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, GetTR, Rumble, Spotify, Apple Music. Imagine just a week without all of those things.
Out of all of those things, I use YouTube the most. But if you take away YouTube from me,
Yeah,
that's
me
gonna
too.
hurt.
Um,
Yeah, me too.
guys,
Me too.
Yes,
actually, guys,
yes.
believe it or not, I actually experienced that. When I went to Panama 4 years ago, I was attending like a religious convention, and there was a storm that knocked out the Wi-Fi service where we stayed.
Mm-hmm.
So for the most of the week, I had no access to Wi-Fi. But
Oh, boy.
I made the most out of it because I was able to talk with people face to face.
Yes.
And I was able to talk, and I talked to people from the Dominican Republic, from
Mm-hmm.
Central America.
Excuse me? No, I'm sorry, I just can't. When the internet here, because sometimes we get outages, when it goes out for like 20 minutes, I am freaking out. And I need to go into therapy or something because I cannot live without it.
Okay, well, Denise, I chose that opportunity to make the most out of it, and just to interact with other people.
Okay, there's gonna have to be a type of methadone for social media users like yourself, Dennis, in case you don't have it available. No, no, but I understand what Don Jose is saying. I mean, it's kind of like when we have been back in Puerto Rico in a storm or a hurricane hits and the power goes out and you can't turn on the TV and you kind of have to readapt at least temporarily until you get that back.
Yeah.
I think that we should be able to do that. Maybe I can say that because I'm older and I grew up without it. But the
I
kid,
grew up without it
oh yeah, okay,
until 13. At
okay,
13, I got
uh-huh.
my first computer for Christmas.
Right, right. You were still a kid. You were still a kid. That's the thing. I
No,
mean,
I was a teen.
Um,
you're still a kid. You're
Ramon,
still a kid.
Ramon, you got to understand that anybody over 35 is old.
Oh my God, that is not
Ah,
cool. He's just trolling. Don't pay attention to
ah.
him.
No, no, but I didn't have a computer until I was like 23, 24,
Really?
and it was because I had to put it together. Yeah, yeah, because it was in the late 90s. Not everybody had a computer in Puerto Rico back then. And
Oh.
that's when I kind of had to learn about it myself. And I had to learn how to put one together myself and learn how they work, how to open it up and take the parts apart
So
and
you
being
were
able to.
like literally grown. No, I immediately, like, the first time I learned about a computer,
Yeah,
I was 12 that
yeah.
I learned that computers existed, and from that moment on I begged my dad to have one. And he
Uh-huh.
was reluctant because he knew how I was with my cell phone.
Yeah.
So, but he said, you know what? I can't take it anymore this Christmas. I'm going to take you to your cousin's computer shop. You pick one, I'll pay for it. Just shut up about it.
Uh,
You know, I don't want to hear it
Oh my
anymore.
I can only
goodness.
imagine. Wow.
And I got one. And I mean, at first, my parents were like, oh, we're going to be very restrictive. It's going to be like in the living room so we can watch it, and then they move it to their room so that they can watch me do things while they were doing some other things inside the room, like folding clothes or anything like that, so mom could watch me.
Mhm.
And then eventually they got tired of me always being in there, so they're like, no, it's going into your room, we don't care anymore, do whatever the fuck. So I had unrestricted access to the internet at a very young age, and you bet I downloaded insane amounts of illegal music, and Casa was like my go-to.
Oh yes, yeah. I remember Casa. I
Oh
downloaded a
my
lot of
goodness
MP3s with
gracious.
Casa. Yes,
Yeah.
I remember. I remember. Yeah, yeah, but you still had to use standard dial-up, right?
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah, that was the only thing. That was the only thing with me. All I had was available was a standard dial-up. I was able to get a monthly service that was cheap, that was supposed to be for students. But I didn't have anything better than that until I moved. Until I moved out of the island.
No, I
Uh,
kept improving. I kept improving. After that, we got into scanning, printing.
yeah.
Uh, what was the other thing? Burning discs. I kept expanding my computer for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
And I
Oh
had
no.
all the things that you could possibly imagine. Then I started bugging my dad for floppy disks
Wait,
and
wait, wait, wait,
a
wait. Hold
lot of blank CDs so that I could burn all my music. And I still have those CDs, believe it or not.
Mm.
I
on.
still have them in my possession.
Wow.
I have
Wow.
a lot of mixtapes that I made myself.
Yeah, yeah, kind of like you will make your own compilation discs. I mean, I
Absolutely.
did a
And
lot
I
of those.
I that's how I learned actually about French music. I think that connected me to a lot of French music, and I became an Edith Piaf fan.
I've
Um,
heard the name Edith Piaf, but Edith Piaf that was like back in the day. That was
yeah,
on.
in the 20s, in the 20s.
Wow. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
And she
That
died
was
very
old.
young. Like she was long dead before I even encountered her music, but I loved her music and her life as well. That woman had an amazing life and great music, by the way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I discovered so much music. Like I fell in love with because I had access to it. Like you have to understand, before that, I only had access to classical music and
Yeah.
opera. And because my parents, after a while, stopped caring because they started having their own issues and then going through divorce and stuff. So they weren't paying attention to me. So I could have access to rock and roll, to freaking reggaeton, to bachata, merengue, and other things. So all those sounds were new to me. I never listened to none of this stuff before. So I will spend hours and hours and hours in my room after school just listening to music and being excited about it. So I became obsessed and downloaded over, I would say, 30, 40,000 songs.
Oh, that's all?
Oh, well, I can say
MK
that.
Saint Thief.
Wow. Yeah, and along with that, several viruses.
Yeah, yeah, but we have the McAfee after that, remember?
Yes. Well,
I
there
don't.
was McAfee, Norton. You could have all of those, but there were so many viruses that
Yeah, there was a
eventually.
lot. And I didn't care because you know what? I will have them all burned into discs,
Yeah.
and then I will delete the whole computer and then start again. And then after that, I started listening to Ryan Seacrest's Top 40 every week.
Hmm.
And that's when I
Mm,
became in touch with a lot of American music,
yeah.
from like his stuff, like current music, because I only had access to whatever, what's on the internet that was like, oh, this is great music and blah blah blah, but then nothing current. It was more like old music or classics. And of course I went for Whitney Houston because I loved her, and
Yeah.
then I went for Michael, and then it continued from there. I started to listen to a lot of Ray Charles and blues, and it was a great journey. But that literally, it's what created the whole millennial obsession with social media, to the point that The internet uses us. We do not use the internet.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, very
there's
true.
no such thing. That's why we have the least influence when it comes to the internet compared to generations after us.
Mhm. There's a clip that I showed. I just want to show you. Just give me a moment. Um,
Oh, the midget, the one with the midget. All right, let's hear it.
no, it's not. It's just wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I
Let me just make sure
put the
I show
phone
you.
away and have a fucking conversation.
No. Oops.
What? The Lion King? Is it the Lion King?
Okay, just give him a moment. But you know what? This is so appropriate.
Uh-huh.
That is true. People before they brush their teeth, they go to their social media. That there are studies on that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
make no mistake, when people are sending you early morning messages and posting stuff, they have their mouths have not been washed yet.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. No,
But
that's
how is it gross? You cannot, it's not like you can smell the breath. They're still in their beds.
yeah. Yeah. It's just the thought of it. It's
Oh,
not
Yeah.
the
oh my God.
no, and by the same token, people that lose sleep because they go to bed at a certain time, but then they start playing with the phone and playing with the phone, and the hours pass, and they don't get enough sleep, and that can be harmful. That
Yeah.
can be harmful. Mhm.
Daughter, earlier in the stream, I shared some articles regarding addiction to social media. So when you get a chance, so you can catch it on the playback.
No
Um,
problem.
you know, um, now I knew that this stream was not going to be so popular because only 4 people liked it. But you know what? I don't care.
That's all
People
right.
don't
That's all
want to
right.
be reminded of their addictions.
I know.
Yeah.
I think I hit a nerve.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because it applies to so many people. To me, to a degree, but I don't get offended by it. But there are
But
people, the people that apply to it the most, that are getting the most offended. I mean,
but
that are triggered.
now let me. I'm gonna share. I'm gonna share the tea because I don't know how long Denise is going to stay. Which was there was a situation when I got on um another stream, and there was an individual which I'm not going to name, but I think you know who I'm talking about. She was making, talking about how she is who she is. So I expressed an opinion. It's like, well, you can say whatever you want, but you're not who you say you are. So then she got very defensive. And
Mhm.
it's like, well, I am what I am. I like this culture, blah 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 blah.
Ah, okay,
My
okay.
rebuttal was, you can like. I mean, I love the culture too, but I'm not part of the culture. Okay, so she got very defensive, and then I got on the same platform, and she tried to tell the host not to allow me to get on.
Mhm. Mhm.
So then we
Well,
had.
I don't know. I don't know what her problem is. I mean, uh, like I was saying before, I can understand what Dominicans are saying, kind of like having a problem with her claiming claiming something, and then she has to explain herself, and she doesn't like it, and she catches an attitude because of it. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, she may have had good intentions, but you can't just show up to a place and claim to be one of them. They take it. The Dominicans will take it as kind of like appropriation, cultural appropriation, and it's understandable to a degree. But she's in no position to be getting all offended and getting all defensive with you. You didn't do anything.
Okay, and this is the point that I was trying to raise. Okay, if she gets offended by what I'm saying, which and daughter, you know me very well. I'm very careful with what I say and how I say it. So in some ways, I'm the complete opposite of you. So if she gets offended by just me carefully and parsing some words, what's going to happen to her if she deals with someone that speaks with no filter?
Mm.
And that's the tea.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know the rest of that tea. Somebody will have to detail the whole thing. We should create like a cyber name for this individual. I'm gonna call her Nancy.
What do you
So
mean, like nagging Nancy?
nagging Nancy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Butthurt Nancy.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Hey,
Denise.
hey
Denise.
guys.
Yes.
No, I'm just.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, guys, I'm still here. I was actually eating some of this food. that I
Okay.
had, so
We thought that butthurt Nancy got you.
But
oh
Denise.
no, and
Okay. Denise, when we get on the telephone, I'll show you all the details so you get the whole unfiltered tea.
Tell us the tea, Jose. Come on, stop shying away. What happened with Nancy?
Okay, she got upset because I called her out saying that she's the African Dominican. And I just said, wow, to me, if you're gonna be Dominican, at least one of your parents must be Dominican.
Absolutely.
That's all. That, in a nutshell, is what I said. And then I said she can call herself whatever the heck she wants to.
But was she even, because you could also be by birth, like if you were born and raised there, then of course you're already Dominican, I guess.
I can, you know what, I can understand that, but from what little I know about her, she was not born and raised in the DR.
I'm gonna speak on that for a quick second as far as that situation goes. Based off of from what I've seen, I don't think it was really warranted the vitriol that she said, but the vitriol that was given to her, people was I don't know if it turned out people was playing in the beginning or they started getting really upset with her. But the more and more it progressed, the more and more she didn't really watch what she was saying, and that was rubbing a lot of those people the wrong way because the person that we're referring to, we've known the person to say reckless things in the past. Like as far as I remember, what did she say? She said something about black Americans need to thank white people because if it wasn't for white people, slavery wouldn't have ended. She said quite a few reckless things, which is why I was just like, you know what, she's out there by herself. But I don't think a lot of it was warranted. I do understand to an extent what she was trying to say because she visits the Dominican Republic and she goes there. I've always heard her say she was African, so but I don't know if people just wanted to make that into she's trying to be Dominican or something like that because some of these people on here they can be kind of
Okay, but in all fairness, she contradicted herself at least twice. At least twice.
Yeah. But she takes on the kind of like on the identity of being Dominica, but then she goes back when she gets pressured. Then she goes back to reminding people that she's Namibian.
Yeah. Maybe I didn't because I didn't see a whole lot of it. I just saw when it became an issue with what she was saying, but I was just like, wow, But like I say, the problematic things she said before, she can say things without really thinking it through what she's saying, and she might have good intentions and don't mean negatively, mean something negative, but people can take things into a certain direction, especially when you say things out of ignorance and not really understanding, what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Well, look, like I said,
I'd rather not comment because if I comment, they'll say I say all of what you guys are saying. But
mm,
you guys know I agree with a lot of the things that are being said here.
yeah. Yeah. That kind of like if you were to add to it, then they'll blow up what you're saying out of proportion because they're such fans of yours that everything you say is magnified in their minds.
Oh yeah, they're
So
gonna do 3 streams on like whatever
yeah,
rhetoric or narrative they wanna hold.
yeah.
and and not only that, but actually telling the host of the
Mhm.
platform what to do as far as letting who get on and off.
Yeah, well, the host of the platform apparently he was just being nice and he didn't want to correct her and check her right on the moment. But yeah, that was out of line. I mean, you don't go to somebody's platform and try to tell them what to do and cop an attitude with them and try to run things in their platform. That's not how it goes. That's not how you do it.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
no, don't let him on. Don't let him on. Is this your platform or mine?
Yeah,
See, and that's the thing. And I would have loved her to try to pull that crap on my platform. She's not
yeah,
going to do that because she knows that she's going to be put in check, and she's not going to have anybody that's going to defend her.
yeah. Yeah,
Well,
but I mean,
it doesn't
yeah,
surprise me. I saw her delusion months ago,
mhm.
as in plural. Like the first interaction that I have with Nancy was when she was on that delusional alternate reality of how young certain body parts of her was.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I remember that.
And there was people that were like, "Oh, don't be so harsh on her." Well, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, but her Nancy, it's delusional.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. She's in need of a rubber room under a 72-hour observation period.
my
Yeah,
God, and a straight jacket will say
yeah.
what you want
Under,
to
under
say.
observation and rounds of medication, things
There
like
are
that.
some people that I don't know why they resist it, but they should just donate their bodies, their living bodies, to science.
Hmm.
And that I'm just saying this, without the intent of being disrespectful, but there are some people that should, because we should understand how their brains work. We don't know a lot about the human brain. In reality, we know more about outer space than the human brain. So they will be doing like a public survey. That's a public service.
Hmm.
And you
Well,
know something like the person that you guys were talking about. I just think she has a hard time reading the room. Like I said before, she blurts things without really thinking them through, and it can come off in a very negative, condescending manner. And I understand that she definitely like she has good energy, but it seems like when she gets on these platforms, I don't know if she just says things that she thinks other people want to hear or what's going on, but it she has a hard time actually thinking about what she say before she says it, and that irks people, and that'll rub people the wrong way, especially when you're referring to their country of origin and different things like that, and saying ignorant things about their culture without fully understanding. Or
But she insulted the Dominican culture.
I didn't really get much of an insult from her, but it started becoming an insult down the line when she said Africa has produced more than anything the little Dominican Republic has, or something like that. And that's when people got pissed. But they were going back and
Is
forth when
she
she said that.
delusional?
Well, they was reminding her a lot that she was African, that you're African, and different things like that. So I guess that was her response. But you can't compare a whole continent to one Caribbean island. You know, just within
Yeah.
that region right there, you got 8 Caribbean countries. You got you know, the island of Puerto Rico, you got the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Cuba, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago. You like is you can't compare an island that's, you know, in, you know, water, surrounded by water, to a whole landmass of continent. But I
No.
I think she was just trying to say something to defend herself, but it kept getting worse and worse. But to be honest, I don't think the people that, you know, she was communicating with, they really wasn't trying to hear what she was trying to say anyway. But she
Right.
brought that, like I say, she brought it on herself. She said negative things about my culture before as well. So I have to say, you know, it was I didn't have a dog in that fight either way.
That's the typical. I am so sorry because I know there's good African people out there, but that's the impression that they're leaving on a lot of us. It's like this, when you buy, have you guys ever bought like a brisk juice?
Hmm.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you drink a brisk, I mean, I've only had a few because of this. You drink it, it tastes so good, but then the aftertaste burns your throat.
That's why I stopped messing with it because of the
Yeah,
aftertaste.
that's literally how I am starting to see Africans here.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because you see them and you're like, oh my god, like they have such a colorful culture. Look at their dances and whatnot. And then you get to meet them in person, and you get this horrible personality that they think that there's something better than life itself, and
I've
that
had that
everybody
experience,
should literally kiss
unfortunately.
their butts
I've had
because
that
they're the masters of the
experience.
world. I'm like, okay, bye.
Not, and I would say with individuals within the African community, I've had that experience. Not all, just a couple of, because I don't want people to paint, you know, Black Americans with a broad brush. I understand. I've definitely had that experience, and all of us, whether it be whether you be Boricua, whether you be Black American, we all have aspects of our culture that comes from Africa. And I've always, you know, shown respect, but the people that I've ran across within that community had a sense of arrogance that I couldn't quite understand. I've ran across about 2 or 3 people, and 2 or 3 people doesn't account for anything, but just my personal experience, the arrogance, the speaking about your culture in a condescending manner without fully understanding the dynamics of the United States and the way things are, you know, systematically created here. And yeah, I've had
And
that
all of
actually.
this just before the Dominican Independence Day. Oh shit.
And actually,
Well,
I'll go ahead and say it. That one individual, my first interaction with her, that one individual,
Nancy, Ballheart Nancy.
yeah, Nancy, that one individual, my first time seeing her, I was in the chat. I was in the chat on the live stream that she was on, and I heard her say, and this when she went under the different name. Her name was World Travel. Then it was her name then World Travel, and she said, "Oh, they must be talking about African Americans because we know they don't have the best hygiene." And I couldn't believe that she had said that. I really, I really couldn't believe she had
Did
said that, and
I
I was
can
heated. I told her
what?
off about herself. Oh yeah, I told her off about herself.
Africans, there's large sectors in Africa, and I don't mean no disrespect by this, but they don't have clean water.
Yeah, well, we
How
know
can she
that. I
speak?
mean,
Yeah,
we
how
know
can
we
she
know
speak on
things
that?
are.
They don't have proper sewage. They don't have proper.
Mhm.
Let me just calm down, because you see, Rakim, you're gonna give me a heart attack.
No.
you know what, guys? I'm gonna start to wrap this up because it can easily develop into a different stream, and we
Yeah.
already know people are going to be complaining as is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to take closing remarks. So I'm going to start with my cyber son Rakim.
Oh, my closing remarks. Thank you once again, my YouTube dad, Jose. My closing remarks is if you grew up, and me, I was born in '88. So I remember the time before social media became a thing. And if you grew up in that time period, you know how important it was to be able to establish solid relationships, be able to interact with people on a personal level, be able to, go into environments and not feel awkward and not feel out of place or suffer any anxiety because you had to be able to communicate and you had to be able to communicate properly. Of course, knowing, getting involved in outside activities, whether it be sports or whether it be, just hanging around your neighborhood with your friends and different things like that. A lot of that is, diminishing as we speak. And you even had it's gotten to the point that some people that are so addicted to social media that they see people in real life and like they're almost invisible to them. Like people will bump into you, not paying any attention. People walk right past you, heads in their phones. People walk into oncoming traffic with their heads into their phones, and people get into vehicular accidents that can cause a vehicular homicide with looking into their social media on their phones. So it's taken a drastic turn. It has the good, it's good and it's bad. The good is we have more access to any type of advanced knowledge and education right at our fingertips. The bad is people have really become, you know, like it's like we've lost some morality as far as people doing things for attention on social media. And the ugly is that it has now just been used as a way to spread negative messages, to spread hatred, and really, people take it to the extreme. And that's pretty much social media in a nutshell. And that's all I gotta say.
Well, thank you, Rakeem, for joining us. Really appreciate your input. So I'm going to put you in the background. Now we're going to speak with the introvert Boricua. Your final remarks.
Yes, sir. Yeah, first of all, as always, I appreciate you letting me on your panel, even though I did come up late. I had some things to do. But yeah, definitely us addicted to social media. Yes, even us, those that are older already, that we're kind of like Gen Xers at least, we still have a little bit of that addiction. Now I know that because I wasn't born and raised by it, I know that as an adult, if for some reason I find myself without it, I should be okay. I don't think I will go through withdrawal. I'm not gonna need methadone for it, but I still will need it if I don't get access to YouTube, because that's like the only platform that I use consistently, just like we're doing right now. But yeah, there is a dependence. There is a dependence on social media, and that I think is very real, very real. So I don't know what is going to happen. The following generations are going to be even worse.
Mhm.
And I don't know. There has to be some kind of mechanisms for balance, so that people can do what we have done for generations, for thousands of years, if not millions of years, which is interactive directly face to face with people. That should never be. I don't think social media is going to completely eradicate that, but it's going to affect it. It's going to affect it, and people should be able to interact in front of each other, with each other, not depend on social media to have a social life. That I don't think that's not natural. So I think there should be a balance. There should be a balance. Okay, social media is very useful to enhance a social experience, but socialization should not be strictly on during doing via social media. There should be real interaction, face to face, person to person interaction, and that's the first form of socialization. Being able to do that in front of a person, and again, balance. There needs to be brought to a balance, and kids shouldn't be raised by the parents' smartphone, because we see that too much, and I don't think that's healthy. There should be a balance. That should be limited. That should be rationed. And that's how we see it. That's my take on it.
Okay, well, thank you very much for dropping by, Ramon, and for giving your input. So I'm going to put you in the background. And now, daughter, your final words.
Well, I came late to the stream, but I'm gonna say that yes, we're definitely addicted to social media, like everybody else said, and it's only gonna get bigger. It's only gonna get worse if you look at it. I mean, I don't think it's worse. I just think that we're gonna get more hooked into this new lifestyle because social media already is a lifestyle. People make money out of it. People connect with others, spread thoughts, philosophies, ideologies, and whatnot. And you can make a living on these platforms now. It's not like just to like it used to be just for downloading music and going into chat rooms and stuff like that. It's more now like an avenue to create income. So it's gonna get and transition into virtual reality, I believe, and we're going to get more hooked into it to the point that we're not going to interact. Of course, that's going to increase social awkwardness. People are going to become more awkward because they're not going to be used to interact face to face. We're going to lose the ability of reading body language, being able to read the room, and a lot of other things because of this. And we're not going to be able to see contempt in other people. We're not going to be able to see happiness or sadness, among other things. But this is my opinion. Of course, I'm no expert. But I mean, we saw it with excessive exposure to video games. We're seeing it now with social media, and it's going to happen with virtual reality. I will just say that keep a balance. It's all about balance, socialize with other people in real life rather than just sticking to cyber interactions because those are all artificial, and just try to do it that way. It's going to become more difficult to interact, and we're seeing it already by the way people are not even being able to mate with one another properly. So that's my take on it, and thank you very much, Jose, for having me on here on Common Sense with Jose Negron.
Well, first of all, I just want to show my appreciation for you for blessing my cyber home. You're always going to have a place here, and you have a place in my heart. So just want you to, always bear that in mind. I mean, we do disagree, but then again, I think what it is that we care so much about each other. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much for sharing your cyber home with me.
So what I'm gonna do is I don't know if you can stay. I'm gonna put you in the background. If you have to leave, you'll have to leave. But hopefully you can stay at least for a little bit. So I'm gonna put you in the background. Now I'm gonna give you my final words. The fact of the matter is we are addicted to social media. Now, what we can do is try to get a grip on it and not let social media control us. At times, we just gonna have to learn how to unplug and do other things, like the things we used to do before social media existed. So I just want to let everybody know that tomorrow I'm going to be interviewing the introvert Boricua on this platform at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thursday, it will be articles Thursday, and I'm going to share some articles regarding a particular topic. Now, this Sunday we'll have our next stream completely in Spanish. El tema que vamos a hablar el próximo domingo es cómo el COVID-19 han tocado la familia latina. Vamos a hablar sobre este tema. Todo el mundo está invitado para participar, solamente que sepa sea completamente en español. So we're going to be talking about how COVID-19 has affected the Latino family. For that being said, I thank everybody who watched the stream live and who are catching on the playback. And of course, I'm going to end it the same way I always end it. People, please do not let the errors of the past damage your future. And we must do everything possible to minimize our contact with the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we'll be infected by the stupidity and mass insanity. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. Take care, good night, and peace.
Strong.